So today my Twitter account got hacked by this bot, which started sending random direct messages to every single person that I follow, and well, it just wasn't good. So that's a problem. So if you have any direct messages from me which seem very strange and have a weird link, don't click any links and just delete it and just ignore it, please, because it's a pain. I don't know why this happens, but it happened to me, and I've had to reset my password and everything. Hopefully it will be cleared up, but anyway, you don't want to hear about my woes on Twitter. You want to watch a battle, and I have one for you. This is a UU game from a while ago against a guy by the name of Jatlul, and yeah, I just threw some stuff together. Gligar and Snorlax defensive core with some other kind of stuff that goes along with rain, because I wanted to run my my bronze on with the damp rock and see how that does. So lead off with Phil, good old Phil. He's our mate from before, and Crobat is obviously going to go for the taunt, so I am going to straight up attack it and go for the Zen Headbutt, which is a fantastic move to have on a Crobat, and Phil does the job nicely there. He manages to take out a huge amount of that Crobat's HP, bring him right the way down, and if I manage to get Stealth Rocks up, then, you know, this thing's survivability is going to be limited, unless of course he has Roost. He probably has Roost, let's be honest here, because, you know, lefties Crobat and all that. So go into my Gligar to take the oncoming U-turn, which I take pretty well. I'm thinking maybe gives me a little bit of a window to set my own Stealth Rocks up here, and he goes into Crest. So that kind of sucks, because I'm going to have to switch out and go back to Bronzong, seeing that Ice Beam is a probability. You know, he may not have it, but it is likely, and he does so happen to carry the Ice Beam. So Phil coming in again to take that very nicely. Now, gives me a little bit of a window here, because I do have the Rain Dance on my Bronzong, and now that I switched out and back in again, I'm no longer taunted. I also have rocks on it, so I guess I'm carrying two things on the team with Stealth Rock. Hey, might as well for insurance, right? I don't know. It just kind of worked out that way. Sometimes it happens that I do carry two things with Stealth Rock, but it's okay. I managed to throw them down, and as Nidoking switches in now, it doesn't really do a huge amount with Focus Blast, and look at that Zen Headbutt, almost kills the thing. Like, fucking Zen Headbutt is a nice idea on Bronzong, and I'm glad I gave it to it, because it's actually helped out pretty well in this situation. The only problem I come up against is when things like Umbreon are a problem, because you can obviously not hit it with the Psychic move. So go for the Rain Dance as he switches. He obviously didn't want to stay in and risk a Focus Blast missed, or just Focus Blast not kill me in general, because lived with over half, and he probably wouldn't have killed me with a second. So he's going to go into my he's going to go into his Umbreon, and I certainly don't want to be staying in on that, because I can't really do anything to it. So after I set my Rain up, I'm going to make the more defensive switch. I could have gone straight to either Blastoise or Tornadus or Sharpedo, which I probably shouldn't have gone to, because that thing just is paper thin and would die to any hit. So yeah, I didn't really want to do that. I want to go defensively, go to Snorlax, and I'm like, okay, let's get some power hacks on this Umbreon. I really don't matter. I really don't care if I get the paralysis on me, because I can just rest it off and be absolutely fine. But knowing he's probably going to switch now, I'm going to go for a different move, and I decided to go for the Whirlwind, because if I go for that, then I kind of catch his Cradley unawares and force it out into something else, which could potentially take more damage from Stealth Rocks. And ladies and gentlemen, just as I was saying such a thing, Crobat gets dragged in, takes a huge amount from the Stealth Rock damage. Unfortunately, he's going to be able to get off a Roost here, because he is, of course, faster, but he doesn't want to take a Body Slam, and though he stays in, you know, this is going to hurt. Crobat, defensive as it can be, you know, and it can put a lot of investment into being bulky. When you go and you find a big ass Snorlax, you're gonna get it's gonna sit on you. Let's be honest. You could fly away, but it will find a way to sit on your face. And my Snorlax, more than any Snorlax, knows how to sit on Pokemon's face, and it sits squarely on Crobat's brow, paralyzes it, and he gets the power hacks on the next turn. So I'm actually able to finish off the Crobat with decent ease, actually, relative ease, with Snorlax being able to body slam a few times and get him out of here. So there we go. I think we're up to like 6-5 now. This is a long game. It's a really long game, so we've got lots more to go. Of course, if you're seeing the Gligar, Snorlax, Cresselia, all these fucking stally things, you can obviously tell that it's going to take a while for all this to go down. But goes into the Cresselia and shows me Psyshock, which is interesting. Certainly going to be much more effective for him on my Snorlax, because I'm of course specially defensive, and physical end is not my strong suit. So goes for that, does an okay amount of damage, nothing that's I can't deal with, really. Like, I can take a few of those, it's not really a big deal. So I decided, well, I don't really want to switch anything in right now. I'm just going to keep doing Body Slam. Body Slam's doing a decent amount, right? I might as well just continue going for it, and unless he switches out and gets Umbreon back in, that paralysis is staying until he heal bells it away. So I'm just going to stay in, body slam, maybe get some power hacks, and maybe see that I can do well against this Cresselia. So that's what we're going to do. Probably should have sped this portion up, but it's fine. I didn't, so we're going to continue going and sitting and watching. He goes for it again, and this time does a huge amount because he got the +1 from the Calm Mind. So I am kind of paying there in some respect for letting him do that, but I do get rid of him with a Whirlwind, meaning that his boosts are all disappeared, and he's still paralyzed, so when he comes back in, should be easier to deal with. Goes into the Nidoking, which I've already seen has Focus Blast, but honestly, because I'm Snorlax and because I'm super specially defensive, I think I can take one. And I'm correct, ladies and gentlemen, my assumption is true, because he puts on them shades, sits back, and just takes the hit. Goes to Body Slam, finishes Nidoking off. Another Pokemon, another purple Pokemon off the list that I needed to take out on my opponent's team. So now he goes into Kingdra. Obviously, he could potentially substitute, he could potentially Dragon Dance, he could potentially Rain Dance. There are lots of things that Kingdra can do. I'm not going to give him the opportunity to do any of those, so I stay in just in case he wants to try and set up. He makes a smart play though and goes for the Waterfall instead. So absolutely perfect, and takes out my Snorlax, which isn't a worry. However, pew 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 pew, in comes the Blastoise. Frost Wizard himself freezes the Kingdra with an Ice Beam, and wow, that was really nice. That certainly saved me a lot of trouble. Meant that he wasn't going to be Dragon Dancing in my face, because he's now frozen, he can't do anything about it. Now, the weird thing is, he stays in here trying to thaw out. Not quite sure why, because he does have an Umbreon on his team, so that freeze wasn't like critical or anything, it just kind of slowed down the process, because he can go into Umbreon and just heal Bell, get rid of the paralysis on his team, get rid of the freeze on the Kingdra. It really isn't any worry to him. So as haxy and as terrible as it might look in the short term, in the long term, not a huge deal. So he is going to go for foul play, strangely enough, instead of just straight up heal belling, but that will happen, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen. As I go into Bronzong, take that okay, and now he's just going to continue to protect, I guess, trying to see what I'm going to do, but just gives me a free opportunity to Rain Dance. I honestly can't even attack this Umbreon because I have Stealth Rocks and Zen Headbutt. I think Rest as well. It's a weird set, this Bronzong, but I like it. Phil's a good guy. Does me well. He treats me well, and I treat him well. It's a nice symbiotic relationship we got going on here. So now I decide to go into Gligar. Finally, he heal bells, revealing it there, showing me his entire set being Foul Play, Protect, Wish. Wish? Did I see Wish? And Heal Bell, I think. At least that's what I'm presuming. But now I'm just going to go for the U-turn. I'm kind of positioned to do a nice little bit of chip damage and see whether he wants to stay in and take it, or I could, you know, give myself the advantage on the switch if he switched out upon it. And he ends up not doing it. He does have Wish. There we go. We confirm that he does have Wish. So we know his full moveset now. Not particularly threatening. Umbreon is supposed to be very defensive and use defensively based moves anyway. So there you go. So the reason I go for Ice Beam here is because I thought my Hydro Pump was really obvious, and he does have a Cradley on his team. That's the reason I've been very wary with using Blastoise or any kind of water move in general. Certainly I haven't been using my Sharpedo at all, because he does have the Cradley, and Cradley, as you know, has Storm Drain, so I don't want to give him a free Storm Drain boost and then have to switch out because I'm locked in on Scarf with Blastoise. That's why I'm going for Ice Beams as opposed to going for Hydro Pump, so I just don't want that to happen. He does end up getting Wishes off, and a few things happen. Go back into Bronzong, back in this position again, and he manages to give a Wish to his Cresselia, and oh my god! This, ladies and gentlemen, this is why no one likes Cresselia, because it just doesn't die. It just doesn't want to die, does it? Especially when you're giving Wish support. I mean, come on, people. Well, I do get the free switch because I know that he's not going to go out and attack a Bronzong with an Ice Beam, and if he wants to go for Psychic, then Sharpedo is obviously immune to that, so it was a good switch in, allows me to get up a free substitute. I'm not going to go straight away for the attack because I wanted to kind of set myself up, and I knew he would be scared out by the crunch, so he goes into Cradily, probably the best thing to take me on, because The only thing that I can hit him with for a decent amount of damage is Crunch, which will do a nice amount here because I actually have a Dark Gem on the Sharpedo. I was playing around a lot with gems when I made some of these Pokemon, so kind of a cool addition. I didn't want Life Orb on it because obviously Substitute and Life Orb is a recipe for disaster, and Lefties was kind of just like, I didn't really want to reveal that I would have an item like Lefty, so I thought bluff it a little bit, have a Dark Gem, and it works out okay. I do get the defense drop as well, so I'm in a little bit of a better position. Could go for another one and maybe take him out, but probably not going to happen. He has too much HP at this point, so I'm going to make the more defensive play, go back to my Bronzong, obviously to dodge the Giga Drain, or not dodge it, but take it a lot better because I do have a resistance. And that critical hit, as you can see, did hardly anything, so I know I can live a second one, set up Rain again, because as you saw previously, Rain did stop, and maybe we'll get a switch into Tornadus at some point. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to set up Rain and then find an opening to bring Tornadus in and just fucking Hurricane stuff, because that's what he's supposed to do, and that is what his role is on the team. So set up the Rain there. I'm just going to stay in now. There's no reason for me to switch. His crit ability does still have the defense drop, so Zen Headbutt is actually going to do a kind of sizable amount considering, which is nice. It means that I have less of a burden placed upon Tornadus if it comes and switches in and isn't able to take the thing out. So or wouldn't be able to take it out from a high amount of HP, but now obviously the Zen Headbutt has helped me out. So Giga Drain does finish me off, doesn't give him a huge amount of HP in return because I was only at like 14 or whatever, and now I do have a free switch, so I am finally going to go into Stormborn, the great and mighty Tornadus. Unfortunately, Stealth Rocks were set up in the process, so he was able to do a lot of damage to me. Well, I'm going to take a lot of damage on switching, but Superpower is going to be enough, and I decided I'd go for Superpower instead of the Hurricane, because the defense drop was there, and I thought I might as well do it, and I don't want to go for I don't know why I didn't go for Hurricane. Maybe because I just was lazy and I didn't think it would kill or something, because it may not have done, and yeah. So now it goes to Cresselia. I can't kill it with a Hurricane, so I'm going to go into my Blastoise, try once again for the tactics. Actually, I'm going to switch my tact from going for Ice Beam because there's no longer Cradily on the field, so I can go for Hydro Pump instead of going for Ice Beam, and hopefully have that be a bit more effective than you know, the non-stab option, and certainly is going to do a nice chunk to the Cresselia. It has set up one Calm Mind, so its special offense is a pretty respectable amount at this point, to the point at which, you know, if I continuously go for this, he'll probably be able to Moonlight off HP at some point, but Rain is still up, I believe, so if he does want to heal himself with Moonlight, he's not going to do as much health regain as he could have done, but he makes a very smart play and goes for the Calm Mind instead, knowing that he can then live another Hydro Pump after this, and I'm pretty sure that the Rain is going to stop sometime soon, so after that he can then go for the Moonlight and bring himself all the way back up. But unfortunately I missed the Hydro Pump, gives him a little bit more window to set up his HP, and he does so. Is able to bring himself up to a much more respectable amount, 258, and well, we'll try again. Let's keep Hydro Pump, and at this point I'm not switching Blastoise out. Stealth Rock's going to kill him, so stay in. Eventually, Cresselia is going to decide it's a good idea to kill me, and it feels that that is the time at which to do so. Could have Moonlighted more, I'm sure he could have done, but there is the obvious potential of crits, so probably didn't want to risk that. So now I finally get a nice switch into my Sharpedo again to go for the Crunch on the Cresselia, and I'm hoping please be enough to take this thing out. Please don't have the Dark Gem, but please, and it does. Oh, that was I was a little bit wary there, just because I know Sharpedo is powerful and it has stab on its dark attacks, but Calm Mind Cresselia usually invest in maximum defense, so that was kind of something in the back of my mind I was annoyed about. But he goes to Kingdra now. Obviously, I got the speed boost after killing Cresselia, so I am going to be faster than Kingdra. Take it out with the Crunch, and I'm looking okay here. Sharpedo probably going to be able to make an endgame sweep, at least what I'm hoping. Unfortunately, his final Pokemon, being Umbreon, is going to kind of put a blockade in my way, because the only thing I really have to touch it is Waterfall, and Earthquake's not going to do a huge amount. So I go for the Waterfall, hits me with a Foul Play, which is actually going to do a horrific amount. Takes me down to 2. I resist it, yeah, but he's using my attack stat against me, so I'm not going to be taking those hits well whatsoever. Go for another Waterfall. I think he's probably going to try and Wish Protect here, which rather annoying, but what are you going to do? That's what Umbreon does, you know. If you want to win a match and you have an Umbreon, you got to stick it out, man, because that's how you win. I mean, you could run, yeah, sure, but you know, there's still the potential here for him to be able to stop me with protect stalling and wish stalling. And I really should have sped this up. I'm just really not saying anything of relevance at this point. So yes, I'm going to die because he's going to foul play me. He's now brought himself back up to the amount of HP that he wanted to be basically full. Going to do another waterfall. See how much it does. Probably not going to be a lot. And as you can see, he's wishing again. Okay, I think I sped this bit up a bit more, but goddamn, yeah. You know, you can continuously do this, but you get to a point where eventually, like, it's just like, why even bother? Because the thing is, like, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. I have Gligar. The Gligar is the Pokemon that I have remaining. And the only two guys I have left is Tornadus and Gligar. So if Tornadus doesn't kill it with a superpower, which unfortunately it's not going to be able to, it's going to be Gligar versus Umbreon. It's basically going to be a PP stall war. And this was happening during a stream. So we probably don't want that to happen. PP stall war would be not in anyone's best interest because it's boring to watch and no one really gains anything from it. It's just clicking buttons. It's mindless. It's pointless. And in the end, I do feel that he is going to end up running because this would have taken an eternity. And I do have the upper hand in terms of amount of PP remaining. Earthquake is actually doing a decent chunk to him as well, much more than his foul play is doing to my Gligar. So I do have the upper hand in this situation. It is 1-1. It's basically the end of the game, but he is eventually going to run because there is no point in continuing this charade. The charade's game has ended. We're done. It's over. We're finished. And God, that game was like 50 turns long. Oh. If you sat through this, congratulations, you watched a long game. You watched a very long game. And there you go. I do manage to pull it out in the end, but took some time. It took some maneuvering because the team I brought wasn't very good. It wasn't well kind of suited to go up against stally things, so end up in that kind of situation. However, I've talked far too long. This video is going on forever. It's fucking 17 minutes. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. Do leave a like if you enjoyed. If you enjoyed sitting through this entire thing. And yeah, nice little reminder. Goodbye.